Well, hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. It's Mike Parker alongside Artie Tafoya here, Artie, at the Mechanicsburg Brew Pub once again. And gorgeous February evening here to catch up, Artie.
Yeah, it warmed up today.
I mean, it's been warm. It's definitely been a warm winter, at least recently. And it's I guess it's that freeze-thaw cycle, they call it, where it's frosty in the morning and then kind of gets... if you have a kid riding a dirt bike around the yard, it's a little muddy, which is a concern.
That's right. Well, it's spring's coming because I saw my first stink bug.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So as soon as you see a stink bug, you know it's coming.
Did you ever wonder how many stink bugs are just laying in behind cracks in the floorboards, or they come out of nowhere?
Where are they, Mike?
If you have any, we have some of those cloth kind of Venetian blinds, like the ones, the accordion type ones that they let light in.
Oh yeah.
Right. So those if you get one in there, it's over. I don't know how you get one out of there without. It's like a coat hanger or something.
We should put trackers on them. And figure out where they're going. And then we'll know more about them.
Right.
We'll learn a lot about what's
if
happening.
this brewery stuff doesn't work out for you, Artie, stink bug research is definitely a direction. I think there's more to be done, honestly.
I think there are. There is. But I want to tell you, I have, over the last couple of years, watched almost every Dr. Pol episode. Do you know who Dr. Pol is, Mike?
No.
Oh, geez,
is that the pimple doctor? Or?
No. Same channel.
Dr.
Same
Pimple
channel,
Popper is a different guy? Okay. I don't want to know what Dr. Pol is, but I'm going to find out. Okay.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't have a certification or anything, but I've watched so many episodes, I think I could be a veterinarian.
Oh, okay.
Seriously.
So wait, Dr. Pol, that's his name? Or
it's Dr. Pol. He's up north in Michigan, I think, and he does the most amazing things with animals in terms of fixing them, making sure that they have their babies and they survive. And sometimes the cow is coming out the wrong direction. He'll dive in there.
Gets that elbow in there.
He goes in head first. He turns it around, and next thing you know, that it flops on the ground. It's alive, and it's glorious.
That's
really
awesome.
Is.
I mean, that's somebody's job every single day.
Can you imagine?
Well, I mean, you gotta the people. A lot of my neighbors, I live sort of rurally, so there's some people that just have a donkey or some goats or whatever, and it's I never see the donkeys and the goats at the veterinarian's office when I take my dog there. So somebody's caring for those. Those animals. You just don't buy them and. You don't set it and forget it like an air fryer. You got to take care of the animals.
That's right.
You got to care for the animals.
I couldn't be an air fryer veterinarian.
Somebody's doing house calls for these animals.
That's right. They got to go out there. They got to get knee deep in it. They got to really make it happen.
God. Have you seen that, by the way? The farm show just ended. So there's the section that it's called the birthing area. It's they have bleachers set up for the past couple of years, and they have expectant mother cows in a little area, and people sit in the bleachers and wait for the calf to pop out, and it's a big applause. And if you can time, I wouldn't sit there all day, but if you can stomach it and you can, you have the time to sit there, it's pretty amazing. It sounds like what you've been watching on.
I am going next year. Yeah, I'm gonna get it. Can you buy front row seats?
I don't know. You could elbow your way in, but just put on a really long rubber glove and say, "I need to be in the front."
I'm here to help out.
Just in case.
Dr. Tafoya at your service.
No, it's great. I love the farm show. So the farm show, as we speak here, the Pennsylvania farm show was last month, and. That was good. We walked around, me and the kids. It's a little strange this year. It happens every so many years because maybe this has some relation to the restaurant business too, but there's a bird flu going around. So there was no birds at the farm show this year because of the avian flu. So I don't know if that has if you see the, chicken prices going up or something like that, maybe it has something to do with, it's obviously agriculture, which, they're not growing them just to, to look at. It's not a petting zoo. They're for food. Yeah. So I don't know. It could be all related, but the farm show was great. You didn't get to go to the farm show this year?
I did. I went. We went for the. It was a reception for PA Preferred.
Yeah.
It's the sort of the kickoff.
Right.
Reception, and we had our beer there, and it was great. I'm just glad we don't use eggs in beer right now because the cost of them has gone through the roof.
Seriously, like there's memes going on the internet right now. And the prisoners in jail are no longer smoking cigarettes. They're having eggs smuggled in, because that'll really get them something good, That'll keep somebody off your back for a few weeks. Yeah, it's like currency. It's the bigger thing though now happening, which is really relevant to your business, is the Great American Outdoor Show at the Farm Show Complex.
Telling you what, we've been busy in Harrisburg.
Yeah, I think you're busy in Mechanicsburg too.
We've been busy. Things are just picking up, Mike, and it's great to see. It's sort of, I don't know. It's been a little while, so when you see it, you're like, oh boy, are we set? Are we ready? Are we going to do it? But we've got great people, and it's just starting to get busier and busier, and we're gaining more staff, and it's a nice direction to go.
Well, that's good. A lot of people coming in. I saw a lot of out-of-state license plates on the highway between Harrisburg and Mechanicsburg today. On my drive-in, and it's not like, okay, I saw a guy from Maryland or some guy. It was like Nebraska, Nevada, Montana. So I know that they're staying over here. They're working.
A big deal.
Yeah, they're working all day in Harrisburg.
That show's a big deal.
Lodging and stuff over here, and obviously coming and visiting you. So I would say cheers to the upswing in business around the Harrisburg area, and thanks to the sportsmen in town. And that's a huge deal. So, what are you drinking, Artie? Let's talk about one of your PA Preferred products here in your glass.
That's right, Mike. PA Preferred tonight. I've got the Out of Focus. It is a Pacific Northwest IPA, which is really a West Coast IPA. So it's got that nice bitterness, that nice round maltiness to it. I get so used to drinking, our guys' hazies. They're these hazy beers that are just incredible aromas and flavors and all this other thing. And you forget those OG IPAs that we used to drink all the time before the hazies, the Out of Focus, the Hoppy Trails, all those things. And I got to tell you, this Out of Focus is spot on, man.
I love it. It's a smooth beer. Yes.
It sure is.
All right, and I've got the breakfast. I'm having breakfast for dinner tonight. Breakfast at Base Camp. It's the Hellas style lager, right? Explain what that means, because it's a hell of a beer.
Hell of a beer is right. A hell of a beer. Yeah, Hellas style, of course, German style. If you go to Oktoberfest, you drink more Hellas beer than anything else. Everybody always says, well, don't you drink Oktoberfest? Well, you can certainly find a Marz in there. But when you see that sort of clearish beer coming in those big liter steins, that's Hellas beer. Okay. In most cases, and it's such a great flavor. When I drink one, it takes me back to when we were in Oktoberfest, nice. Or at Oktoberfest.
Is there? I always like to because obviously you guys are brewing local craft beer, but is like when I think of Oktoberfest, I'm looking at your even some of the imagery. We got some signs around us here in the room that we're recording in today. You have a sign over there for like the hoppy Belgian blonde. That picture of that woman, right, with the the tight knit top and the bosom and the big mugs of beer, right? To me, that screams like Oktoberfest, right? The image of lederhosen and the woman serving the big two, glasses of beer. Is that like that reminds me of like the commercial brand being like a St. Pauli girl or something? I don't know. What is there a Hellas style that people may have drank years ago that they could, consider this similar to?
Well, Hellas is an older style beer, but it's really sort of a lighter lager. Okay. Really, yeah. And I look at that picture and all I see is the beer. I don't know what you're looking at.
Right. Well, I'm just trying. Yes. Well, I mean, think about what Chevy Chase, European Vacation, right?
Yeah. I love that movie.
Right. And any of these Oktoberfest types things, you think of the guy. It seems like an endless field or something of like and you've been there before, so again I'm going off of what I've seen in the movies, but it's like just a bunch of like wooden picnic tables and stuff, and then like the crazy music going around and loud people, and it's always the woman serving the beer, like has like 12 beers in her hands, and she smashes them on the table and everyone hurrah, yeah. So
and you sing, they play the same song over and over again
and you don't
like
care
300 times and you don't care. Right?
Yeah.
I'm Prost it. You're going on and on about it. I got to tell you, it's like nothing else, and I really enjoy it, and I've always enjoyed it. And we've been talking about going back. You know, I was on a 2-year self-imposed ban, and it turned into 5 years or 6 years because of COVID. So, I was on a little bit of a ban there. I self-imposed it to myself because I think I drank a little more than I should have, and I didn't get in trouble, which is good.
Yeah.
But I did go ride the rides next to, it's a carnival, really. I
Okay.
mean, there you have the big tents where you have the beer, and then you have a big carnival next to it, right? So we would go drink and all day singing, drinking, and all that stuff, and then we'd go over and ride the rides. Well, that wasn't probably the best idea ever, because afterwards
Is there some food involved with this too?
Well, I don't know. I don't remember that part.
But what do you eat like at Oktoberfest? Like when you're actually over there, what I mean, and I mean that in the way that I also want to relate it to the beers that we're drinking. Like, so this Helles style lager, the breakfast at base camp. If you come into ABC, what's something that would go good with this beer off the menu?
Well, I'll tell you, pierogies and brats is probably the best thing,
okay.
right? You don't get pierogies over there because that's more of a Polish type meal, but you do get bratwurst, mashed potatoes, whatever, potatoes you get. My favorite thing was you could order a half chicken, and it was rotisserie. It was salty as could be, but, when you're drinking beer, salty's good, right?
Right.
And I remember eating that whole half chicken, and there was nothing left but a bones carcass, when I was done, and it was so good. So that was sort of my go-to because it was enough. You eat enough chicken to get you there. A couple bratwursts, that's always good. But God, we just had so much fun doing that.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, that's cool because we're nowhere near Oktoberfest right now, but we've got the, Helles style lager. You want to have one? Pop into ABC this time in February, March. It's good. It's a great beer, and you guys have it in cans too.
We do. Yeah, you can get it at all your local distributors. You can see if they don't have it, tell them to bring it in. They'll bring it in for you.
All right. Well, it's delicious, and I'm enjoying a pint of it here right now. Speaking of enjoying beer and enjoying it in cans and making it portable and taking it to a party, I don't know, man. It's a big weekend coming up. People are going to have a party. I think we should talk about it when we come back. I'm talking the Super Bowl. And Pennsylvania team, man, my team.
Your team, Mike. I'm so happy for you, man.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I am blessed as an Eagles fan to have 2 Super Bowls in the span of 5 years. So let's hope that this goes our way. We'll talk about the Super Bowl a little bit. We'll talk about maybe we'll make a ridiculous prediction like any of us are sports, the experts. But and we'll talk about some ways to make your party even better with some Appalachian Brewing Company products. And we'll be right back on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Check us out online at abcbrewing.com.
All right, and we're back on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. It's Mike Parker and Artie Tafoya hanging out here tonight in Appalachian Brewing Company, Mechanicsburg. And Artie's packed out there. He said before, I'm just so happy that business is booming again. You see it everywhere. I mean, I'm happy for you guys, but just happy to see everybody's like, we talked about these big gatherings like the Sportsman's Show that's going on in Harrisburg, the Farm Show, and just seeing all the big crowds. And then speaking of big crowds, there's going to be a big crowd this weekend in Arizona.
Yeah.
Because we got a big game going on.
Yeah, there's a big game, Mike, and I know you're a big Eagles fan.
Yes.
You've always portrayed that in anything that we've ever talked about with football, and that's great. I'm glad you're right. You've got 2 Super Bowls in 5 years. I'm a Broncos fan, so I had a little run there too. But it's nice to see your team back in there. They're playing some really good defense.
I don't want to talk too much football because honestly, I'm a how do I put this? I'm a lifelong Eagles fan, okay, but if I sit here and just start breaking down defense, and I'm a football coach, so I could go through and tell you what they're thinking, like I just want to see a good game, and yes, I want them to win, but honestly, what I want is I want the memory and like having. I know I'm gonna, at the risk of offending some people here, because there's like this, massive rivalry between Eagles and Cowboys fans, and maybe every team and Cowboys fans, right? And some of my best friends in the entire world are Cowboys fans. But to have 2 Super Bowls in the span of 5 years for the Eagles, even for them to appear, and I got one back when when Donovan McNabb, my favorite Eagle of all time, even though they didn't win. We've had such a great streak, and at the same time, the Cowboys haven't been back for like 26 years.
I see where you're going with this, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, they keep trying.
Yeah.
They keep trying. They're trying different combinations. I don't know. A lot of people say it's Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it is or isn't. There's a reason why they haven't been fully successful over the last 20-some years or whatever.
It's not that they're not. They're successful.
Well, they are successful. Hey, and they got Micah Parsons. I mean, Penn State guy.
He's awesome, by the way.
He is. Yeah. He's the best linebacker.
I mean, come on. They've done this is how the NFC East is, okay? You've got Miles Sanders, a Penn State running back on the Eagles. You've got on the Giants a great Penn State running back, Saquon Barkley. Yep. And the Cowboys have Micah Parsons, and not only is he from Penn State, he's from Harrisburg, So it's like, right. You got this local connection. It's actually that's why it's such a great division, and there's so much, rivalry there. So listen, I'm happy for everybody. It actually was an exciting season. I was hoping that the NFC Championship game would have been between the Eagles and the Cowboys.
I think it would have been, that would have been a good game.
That would have been cool. Yeah. So anyway, we end up with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Did you have something to say?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to tell you that my daughter moved to Philly in September, right? She moved there. She got the Phillies, right? Mm-hmm. She got that whole deal.
Which was great, too.
So she's like all in now. She's like 100% in on the Phillies, the Eagles, and she'll say, Dad, I still like the Broncos, but I'm living in Philly. I'm a Phillies fan, and I'm an Eagles fan, and I'm like, oh, it's great. So we're out watching one of the games. We went down to hang out with her, and we went to a couple places she goes to hang out.
Nice.
And I said, I can't believe that Austin Scott is still playing. And she's like, Dad, it's not Austin Scott. It's Boston Scott. And I'm like, There's no such thing as Boston Scott. She's like, yeah, no, it's Boston Scott. I go, that's Austin Scott from Penn State. She's like, Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. So then I had to Google it, and I go, oh, shit. We're both right. It's Austin Scott is from Penn State. He did play for the Eagles, right?
Yep.
But this is Boston Scott. I'm like, oh, my daughter knows more about football than I do. That's not a good thing, is it?
No, that's why I say you could go down the wormhole here of like, we start talking about, well, I know who the third, string tight end is for, and I just know, listen, if I was going to buy a jersey, that's what I'm contemplating this year. See, I'm still wearing my LaShawn McCoy jersey because he's another
safe.
Yeah,
safe.
Another Harrisburg guy, an Eagles great. But like, I'm afraid to buy a Jalen Hurts jersey or a Miles Sanders jersey. What if they're not on the team next year? I got to wait till It's not a good time to buy the jersey now because that could be a short-term purchase.
That's right.
So anyway.
I still have my Tebow Broncos jersey.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean,
right?
I mean, he had one fantastic. Well,
against the Steelers,
he had a lot of good quarters, right? The last quarter of every game he played, it was amazing.
But there was one thing they used to rub at, again, as a so you're a Broncos fan and someone who enjoys a little bit of Cowboys misery, even though I'm ribbing. There was a time when it was very fun to tell and remind people that Tim Tebow had more playoff wins than Tony Romo at a certain point.
That's right.
So,
one.
So
maybe was it one?
I think it was one, but it was a good one.
Well, it was over Pittsburgh. I know. I remember the one, the most memorable one was when he came back over Pittsburgh, and it deflated that whole city.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. They couldn't go outside for 3 weeks, I don't think.
No, but Tim Tebow. Anyway, he doesn't need our sympathy. He didn't. The NFL may not have been great to him as a player, but I think he's doing okay for himself.
I think he's doing all right. Yeah.
So anyway, hey, listen, we're talking about the game. Obviously, we're interested, and even the cool thing about football is that you may have not watched a single minute of football this entire season, But there's a really good chance you're probably going to get together with some folks or, go over and casually watch the Super Bowl. It's just such a big event. So you got to make that party, a good party. That means Artie, the one-man party. How do you make the party, the special with ABC involved?
Well, first of all, we do have a wing special that you can purchase wings for your, come pick it up. It's a nice deal. I think they have either 30, 60, or 90 wings you can buy, which is a good deal, right? You come in and that's one thing we're doing. Of course, you can always get our beer either at the wholesaler or distributor level, or you can get it brewery direct from our locations. You just got to plan ahead a little bit more there. Of course, our spirits, if you go to our Battlefield location or our Mechanicsburg location, you can pick up a nice bottle. And other than that, every grocery store in the area has our soda. So you can sort of pick up any of those things, right?
Right.
Myself, I'm going to D.C., if you can believe that or not.
Okay.
For Christmas, my daughter gave me a little card that says, "Hey, will you join me for a father-daughter date to go to the Caps game?" Well, back in December, you're not thinking that's Super Bowl Sunday, right? so I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. But it's great. We're gonna go. I'm going down. I'm gonna meet her in the morning. We're going to go to the Caps game at 1:30, and then we're going to go out in D.C. that night to watch the game. So it'll be a good night. I'm going to stay in a hotel there, and then drive up the next morning.
You'll see lots of Eagles fans, and I'm sure lots of Chiefs fans in D.C. as well, because everybody's in D.C. is from somewhere else. So it'll be really fun.
Yeah, with the game, I want to say that have you watched Mahomes play?
Yeah.
God, he's like the Magic Man,
right?
And
right.
I think Hurts is just as good. He's more solid as a quarterback, but the stuff that Mahomes does is just like, how did he just throw that pass?
I don't know.
How did he just do that?
It's like
and being a Broncos fan, we're in the same conference with them.
Yeah.
Right. So I see it far too often. Right.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that he's going to end up being that quarterback that's so good that no one likes him, like Brady Manning and those guys.
Right, and like this guy is the first thing. So my daughter's best friend is she loves Patrick Mahomes, and she calls him Mahomie.
Mahomie.
So
most people do.
It's funny, Mahomie. So anyway, she's got like a Chiefs bracelet and probably like a Chiefs t-shirt. So when we go to we're going over to their house. We're good friends with the parents, and we're gonna go to a Super Bowl party. So there is gonna be some Chiefs rooting going on for Mahomie, and then we'll have some Eagles. Me and my son will be rooting hard for the Eagles. But the cool thing about the Super Bowl is that it's not just you don't have it. How do I say this? You don't have to be like gambling. Like I don't have to go to the casino and like lay down some big bets, or I don't have to do I don't have to be like a sports book expert. They have these things called squares. You ever do the squares?
Oh yeah, the squares. Yeah.
So we're gonna do like the squares, and then probably they'll come up with some signature cocktail, or they'll put some food out or something, and it'll be called kind of theme it, right? So Eagles wings. I don't know. Does that make that's lame? That would be pretty lame. Eagles, but the Eagles have wings. So anyway, you could have like Mahomes meatballs.
It almost rhymes,
right? Anyway, there's little things that make the Super Bowl like a fun thing to hang out with. So I'm looking forward to it. Same thing with you. My boy has a wrestling tournament in the morning. So I'll have my heart attack twice on Sunday when I go and watch him wrestle. As you know, as a parent in the stands, you're like,
oh yeah,
it's like you're on the mat.
I always felt bad for my parents because I wrestled. So from the time I was 4 years old, I wrestled up through college, and I can't imagine what my mom was thinking up in the stands when I'm out there getting all twisted up or twisting somebody up, right?
I know.
I will tell you, my boys are looking good. My Penn State wrestling team.
They're awesome.
Man, are they tough. I went to the Michigan and the Iowa match. Both were in
I watched it on TV.
They were both in the BJC, great. Yeah. And I got to tell you, those guys are so tough. That Coach Kale is so good. Mm-hmm. He just gets those guys prepared. The thing I love about him is you watch like Brands from Iowa, the coach. And he sits on the sideline. He's like, he's yelling at his wrestler the whole time. Kale just sort of sits back.
It's like, I've done the work.
Yell something every once in a while, but he's like, if you're not prepared to go out there right now, what is yelling at you going
What
to
am
fix?
I going to do from over here?
What if I'm over here? And I don't know if you ever wrestled, Mike, but when you're out on the mat, you can't hear anything.
Not much. You don't hear much.
You hear, it's just like a big noise. If you turn and focus and look at them and see what they're saying, you can usually pick it out a little bit more. But, you can take instruction between periods and that type of thing. But I got to tell you, I love that he prepares his wrestlers. He sends them out there and he tells them, go have fun.
Yeah.
And they do, and they just wrestle at such a high level.
I know.
And, I appreciate it so much.
That's cool. And I won't go on and too much longer, but having just watched that match, I wanted to watch that in particular, and I was home and I was able to watch it. So, the thing is, when you get two teams that are so good, number one and number two in the nation, right, as they're ranked, sometimes there was only one pin in that entire match, I think, and
they
place
were all close.
The place exploded when there was a pin. But you're talking about guys that are out there, and it is just a duel. I mean, to the true sense of the word, it is like just waiting for the other guy not to to make a mistake to give you a little opening, and it's a matter of a little 1 or 2 points out there. So
no doubt, if you ever watch Kale wrestle when he was younger, and you can go on YouTube and see a ton of his matches if you want to, but you watch him. He could certainly score a lot of points, but when it came down to the important matches, he would win by 1 point. He would, and I think that's just as important as winning by a lot more. Of course, I mean, it's certainly better than a loss, right?
Yeah.
But learning how to win tight matches is definitely the way to it's a way to coach because not every match is going to be a blowout.
Yeah. Well, I love when they give wrestling such a huge audience in the spotlight. So that was cool that we got to transition a little bit. This is like the sports block. That's okay. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Football, a little bit of Penn State wrestling. Artie, I think talking to points and close matches. I guess if we're talking points, we should probably do a quick little prediction. So, prediction: Super Bowl, Chiefs, Eagles. What are you thinking?
Man, this is a tough one. I think it's going to be close. They're in Arizona, so there's really no home field advantage. I thought I saw the line is like 1.5. Is that right? Has that changed?
Yeah, no. The last time I checked, all I know is that the Eagles were a slight favorite.
Was it? Yeah. And normally when it's like that, it's a big, it's like
and it's probably because Mahomes
42-6.
had a minor injury. Well, he looked pretty.
Well, he's tough when he's healthy. He's tough. He's tough when he's hurt.
Right.
But I got to tell you, I see something in the Eagles you don't see in many teams, and that's that defense that just doesn't bend.
Right.
It doesn't bend. It doesn't bend and it doesn't break for sure.
Right.
So they certainly give the ball back to the offense very often. And I think Jalen Hurts, I think he's back pretty healthy, and I think they're going to pull it out. I'm going to give it to, let's say them by 10.
Okay, so we'll just give you a 10-point spread. So that could be, so I'm looking at it as being somewhat, I would say that's fairly close to what I'm looking at. I'm probably looking at the Eagles have the ability to score almost every time they possess the ball. That's the way I'm looking at it. So it doesn't mean a touchdown every time. So I'm going to say, a touchdown and a field goal every quarter, okay? Doing the math, that's a high-scoring game, okay? That's going to be like 40 points. So that's maybe a little high, so I'm going to shave a little bit off there, and I'm going to take it down to about 30, let's call it 33. Eagles 33, Chiefs 21.
Wow. You're giving them a lot more points than I was thinking. I was thinking, I just don't, I think the defenses are going to hold them back. I think there's going to be a lot of field goals. I think it's going to be more in the teens, 20s. But let's see. Let's see who's right.
All right.
And I'm looking forward to watching the game.
It'll be great to
and
listen
Mike,
back.
I wish you the best because you're a good friend. And I don't have a dog in the show.
Okay. Well, hey, I'm super excited. I would love to see the Eagles win another one. I think it's I've seen it already. I don't want to. I've felt the pain. I felt the the incredible joy of the team winning. I want to feel it again, and I want to share that with my son specifically and some friends. So you never know when you're going to get back there again. All things lined up.
That's true. It could be as long as the Cowboys have waited.
Yeah, I hope not. But yeah.
Let's hope not.
All right. Well, we won't make you wait. We're going to come back and we're going to round this podcast out, and we'll talk a little bit about some things coming up. We've got ourselves up here to the Super Bowl, and we're looking forward to, I think last time Artie didn't want me to get too far ahead out of winter, but we are looking forward to spring at this point. So when we come back, we'll talk about some changes in the seasons and some new beers coming up and some new offerings that you can look forward to here at Appalachian Brewing Company, and we'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe.
Okay, and we're back on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. Mike Parker, Artie Tafoya hanging out here. And Artie, it is the end of February. No, it's not.
No, it's not, Mike.
No, why am I?
What happened?
I don't know. Wait a minute. We still have several weeks left in February.
Well, you haven't seen the sun in like 3, maybe 4, 6 weeks.
No, I noticed, though, that, it is almost like twilight at like 5:30, 6 o'clock now, which it used to be like 4:30. So we're getting there, right? Yeah. We're getting to spring.
And when you get up in the morning, it's not totally dark anymore.
Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, when you get up early and you look out and it used to be so dark. It's like getting up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and freezing cold and everything's frozen. I know.
Can we just get the sun to come out every so often?
No, I need that. There's two theories though. Well, no, I don't know. Theory's not the right word. There's two philosophies with winter though. You're either like, I want a winter where I've got a lot of snow so I can go do fun things. Like I know you like to ski, right?
Yeah,
I know that they're still making snow, but like, kids and adults alike like to play in the snow and do, make snowmen, and there hasn't been much opportunity for that this winter around here. Have you been skiing?
I haven't, Mike. I really haven't. Just, we were busy. We've been busy and things have been crazy, but normally I'm a pretty big skier, but last couple of years I just, first of all, the weather hasn't been great.
Yeah.
They're blowing snow, they're making snows, and I know that Round Top's a great place to go, but I just haven't been there. I haven't been doing it. I used to go with some friends and they sort of stopped. So I sort of stopped,
Right.
But I just would like the sun to come out every so often.
Yeah.
I need that.
I know.
Is it vitamin D? Is that, or vitamin sun? Whatever.
Well,
what is
yeah, but exactly. But what I guess what I'm getting at is we're in this like transitional phase. It seems like, because when I actually we're in mid-February. Okay, so we've had blizzards in late March, so it's not like we're out of the woods here or anything like that.
By no means.
Plenty of opportunity, but like it's been almost too warm. The river's not iced over. Okay, so that's like, for certain things that's good, and then for other things you're like, well, listen, if it's going to be winter, at least let's just be winter already, because now we're getting this. I looked out the window today, and I got one of these plants. I don't know what it is. I'm not a plant
botanist.
Yeah,
a botanist.
Sure. Yeah, an arborist or a botanist.
Whatever it is.
Yes, whatever they call themselves.
Yeah.
So, but it's one of these bushes that has like these. It looks like a fuzzy, like the head of a Q-tip. Like the buds that come out of them are like this, like gray, fuzzy thing. And it's like whatever. It's the bud on this bush outside my house. I don't know what it is. Again, not an expert. But I'm like, what does that do? That tree or whatever that bush is not going to live if we get like a super hard frost. But we're hanging here in the 40s and stuff, and so whatever's going to grow out of there and this pretty white flower is probably going to pop out sometime in early March, and then we're going to get 6 inches of snow, and it's just going to die, and you're never going to. So I know things have a way of doing it, but you think about that, like this transitional period it's just odd when we get warm weather like this in February, and you're wondering if we're going to actually ever get any snow. So
Carrie does a great job of planting bulbs and other things around our house. Our landscaping is by Carrie Landscaping Company, and she does such a great job. And you do see things starting to pop up out of the ground.
Yeah,
and I think I think they're sort of in Pennsylvania. You got to be used to that.
I
right?
guess they're
because
used to
you're
it.
going to pop up, and then there's like you might get snow. You might get another week or two of mild winter. I just it's sort of you just can't tell here.
No, I mean
that's what I love about I love the weather here because you get 4 full seasons here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But elsewhere, you get maybe 2, 2.5, 3. Mm-hmm. If you're lucky, you get 4. So I am so happy about that. I just got to tell you, when I get to the end of winter, though, I'm done.
Yeah, there's a certain point where especially if you've put shorts on for the first time. I know you go to the gym and stuff, so you're wearing shorts. But with the first time you wear shorts, like to Costco, you walk around, and you're actually like, I'm going to.
And your legs are really, really.
I'm going to commit to this. This isn't just for working out or.
That's a super commitment.
I'm going out in public, and I am showing off these white legs,
white hairy legs.
Yes, they're so it's like. You don't want to go back from that, and so that's why when you get to this point, I'm sick of Mother Nature, messing with me like back and forth.
Yeah.
But it's an exciting time. So transitional seasons, but I like to think of it as changing over. You don't necessarily subscribe to this, but I definitely have been drinking stouts. This winter, I enjoy that. I like to maybe when it's colder. I'm drinking like a porter or a stout or something a little bit, darker beers. And then when we get into start thinking forward to spring, then I'm starting to think forward to those other beers. So March is kind of that transitional month as we look ahead. Anything coming out that if people are like me, they're kind of like looking to look forward to, maybe getting into a different beer. What do you guys have coming out in March?
Well, backing up a little bit,
okay.
I did espresso stout, and I really enjoyed that. And I just, it was like I couldn't get enough of it. And then I tried the cannoli stout. I got to tell you, I'm not a real sweet guy, and it's not overly sweet. Don't get me wrong. It's a pastry stout, so it's got that little bit of a lactose, that milk stout, little bit feel to it, which I enjoyed over the holidays. And then we made a new batch of Better Than the Last Batch, which is our hazy, ever evolving hazy IPA.
Right.
And I've been a little bit of addicted to that ever since, right? Yeah. So, but looking forward to spring, I really see, we have our Irish Fest coming up.
Yeah, okay.
Which is cool, right?
Right, St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, only 2 weeks away.
Yeah, what do we think?
You thought you were at the end
I'm totally skipping
February.
Valentine's Day, too. What am I doing here?
You better figure that out
We should
quickly.
back this up and just start talking about Valentine's Day for a second.
I'm like, we could tell you're a romantic.
Oh, my gosh.
You went straight to May or June,
Jeez, I do. I tend to jump ahead. So, maybe it's not time to put down this, like the chocolate stout yet, or like something like that, that you're mixing, flavor profiles. I'm jumping the gun a little bit here, getting ahead of things because it's so warm. It's messing with my head.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. 3 days of warmth, and you're all of a sudden in spring. Is that right?
I will, because I commit.
Yeah, I guess so. You might be going a little early there, Mike.
All right, so let's talk about it. So back it up, back this train up.
All right.
Valentine's Day.
All right, Valentine's Day.
That's right. It's Super Bowl then Valentine's Day.
The beer I just talked about.
Yeah.
The cannoli stout. It's a chocolate chip cannoli, right?
Delicious.
Pastry stout. It still has that wonderful chocolate and also espresso flavor for the stout. But that would be a great beer to grab a couple of 16-ounce cans and take your wife out to dinner and put it right on the table and show her how much you love her.
No, everyone I've shared that beer with so far this year has loved that, by the way.
That's good.
And it's awesome. Not only the flavor of the beer is delicious, but just everything about it. Like cannolis, really? You guys put cannolis? Like you told me the story. I'm like, listen, 150 pounds, straight from the guy, Artie. He told me. Right. It's not like you just, this is like the real deal. And everyone's thinking this is actually a really good beer. So perfect. That's number one. That's good. And then a meal, right? You guys, I don't know what I got to do here. The reservations or just pick a good time. What do you suggest here? Depend on where I'm going to go?
We're good. ABC is good for a date night every night of the week.
Right.
And every night of the year. So call your local location, the ABC location, and most of them are probably going to be available. It's not a crazy night for us. It's a good night usually for us. But it's a great place to come, especially, I've heard this many times, Mike, and that is the female in the family makes 70 to 80% of the dining choices.
Right.
So if you want to take your husband to the place where he's going to enjoy it the most, bring him to Appalachian Brewing Company.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to put it. All right, so we're back on track. We're back in the month of February. We have Valentine's. Now we're looking into March with St. Patrick's Day theme. Yeah. So you Irish Fest.
Irish Fest. We're going to have dancers in a lot of our locations. So look for those schedules. I love our girls used to dance. You know that, Mike. Yeah. You were around for that, and I just love going and watching that. Mm-hmm. So we always get excited about that, and we're love to see the little girls, just the smiles on their faces when they're performing. You know, it's so nice to see, and it's really not easy to do. People look at it and go, "Oh yeah, they're just."
What do they call that? Like just Irish dancing?
Well, it's step dancing.
Step dancing, yeah.
Yeah, but they practice. These kids practice and practice and practice, and the really good ones, I mean, they practice a whole lot. So, it's great to see. We did it, and it's great to see the parents of the kids who are doing it now, because you're so proud of your kids, when they can perform in public like that.
Yeah, it's a great place to perform.
And they might mess up every once in a while. Who cares, right? They're
you wouldn't know, and
most people don't notice.
Plus, the atmosphere is what it's meant to be, right? I mean, if it turns into an Irish pub for the night, and that's awesome when there's performances. You used to really enjoy that. If I can't say that I specifically came anytime saying that I was trying to time it for to see the dance, but if I would be here when the Irish step dancing was going on, that's just like. That just takes it from
magic.
Yeah, it is.
Like
it really
magic.
And get me another beer too, because this is
that's right.
This is like a lot of
fun.
fun.
How about a Celtic Knot?
Absolutely.
Irish Red.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
great
the best beer to have that time of year. You start moving into that red beer, that red ale, and I got to tell you, Mike, that beer over the years, I think we used to call that beer Riverside Red. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that.
Remember that?
Yep.
And it was made because of the Senators started their season.
Riverside Stadium.
Riverside Stadium. Yeah. Now it's something else, right? I
don't even remember anymore.
Bank Stadium.
Yeah. Yep. FNB? Is it still FNB? Ooh, they want to change it.
You should know that.
I know it was. It was definitely. It was like Metro for a while, and then
Metro Bank.
Now it's.
Is it Metro
I don't
Bank?
even know if Metro Bank's around anymore. FNB, I think maybe Field.
Hey,
go Senators!
That's right. Go Steve Leininger.
Riverside Rascal. There's still a Rascal, I think.
But
Riverside Rascal is still around. But so Riverside Red. That was the origin name of that beer. Yeah, and now it's Celtic Knot.
Yeah, and just keeps getting better every year.
Mm-hmm.
That recipe is tried and true, and I'm excited for it to come out.
Cool. Well, listen, some things to put on the calendar. All right, we got the Super Bowl, we got Valentine's Day, we got St. Patty's Day coming up next month. I look forward to getting together with you. I look forward to listening back to this podcast and see if our Super Bowl prediction was anywhere within,
that's right.
the range. And I hope that we're enjoying, an Eagles win. But listen, if you're listening to the podcast, thank you. And if you're a Chiefs fan and things go your way, congratulations. No hard feelings. It's been a heck of a ride. And
if you're a Cowboys fan, we're sorry.
Maybe.
We didn't mean to talk mean about you.
It's okay. They're used to it by now. Hopefully you know that we do it with a little bit of, just I don't know, some ribbing here. It's not. We don't mean it, man. Yeah. We as I mentioned before, some of my best friends are Cowboys fans. Somehow we remain friends. So it goes both ways. Anyway, Artie, I look forward to talking to you in the month of March. This has been fun. So I've enjoyed the breakfast at Base Camp. You've got a little bit of the hot beach, or excuse me, the out of focus.
Yeah. Cheers.
Left there. So cheers.
That was a good one.
Oh, it sounded good. And we'll talk to you next time on the Appalachian Brewing Company podcast. For all of your ABC information, make sure to visit abcbrew.com. See you next time.